It like took a minute. Maybe we're just doomed. Maybe we're just technologically doomed.
Ah, oh well. Aren't we all?
Oh god, yeah. Oh man. So welcome to Pleasant Evenings Book Club. 立ち上がれ立ち上がれ立ち上がれガンダム君よ叫べ
Yeah, welcome.
Long time no see.
It's been a few weeks. There's some we're doing stuff a little bit differently this episode.
That's right. So today we're gonna be covering the theatrical run of the original Gundam series, and we're kind of doing this as a little backdoor pilot for a sideshow. Very ambitious for a show that has stopped putting out episodes for a month and a half or something.
Every show needs a season's breaks.
Yeah, that's right.
Is how I'm going to frame it.
Yeah, but now we're gonna also we're gonna do a sideshow now. We're gonna try to take a look at the Gundam series and fit it all into our greedy little mouths. At least the motion picture stuff. But we'll see if we get motivated to look into any of the novelizations or comic books.
Yeah, I thought Hathaway looked interesting.
I know there's animation of Hathaway.
Yeah, it's adapted from a light novel.
Oh, so
I found this out scrolling through Netflix, and the category was
adapted
based on
from
books.
I love that category. I had an experience watching a movie and the whole time thinking, I bet this would be a good book, because as a movie this sucks. But maybe it seems like they were.
What was that?
It wasn't a great movie on it. It wasn't. I don't know how good the book could be. How was it? It was called. I want to say Mr. Holmes or something. It was with Ian McKellen, and he either plays. So it's either in some kind of universe where. No, is it? I don't know. It's there's a guy that inspired the Sherlock Holmes character who was a brain genius who was good at solving little riddles. But this is at the end of his life, and he's starting to lose his memory, and he's not as sharp as he was. So I forgot the main gist of the plot, but he's staying at this house helping some people solve some mystery or something, while he's coming to terms with this new stage in his life where he can't
remember shit.
You can't remember shit.
See that could be well done with a stream of consciousness type of deal.
Yeah. Later actually, True Detective 3 is kind of about that. Did you watch any of the True Detectives? I know we've mentioned it before.
I've only seen that first season. I've only seen season 1 ever.
Oh, season 3 is good. It's directed by the writer. Season 2's interesting if you want to see how bad something can get.
Maybe.
But
if I don't see the bad stuff, how can I know if the good stuff is really that good?
It is nice as a pleasant surprise, I guess.
No, I don't know. Like I said, I'll consume.
You'll consume.
I'll consume trash, whatever. I'll watch some garbage if it's a season.
I mean, hopefully that's the attitude. Hopefully we won't need that attitude. I don't say. I just assumed we were Gundam. Hopefully we won't need that attitude as we go forward into this Gundam thing. Because I gotta say, jumping into talking about these Gundam movies, they were better than I'd hoped.
I was so surprised. Yeah, I mean, it was like you had said before. They had no business being that good. I was expecting some more straightforward action visuals, which we got that in spades, but there's definitely some other deeper things going on with this politics and its philosophizing and whatnot.
Yeah, it's really cool watching these movies develop, because as it goes on, not only does the scale get bigger, but also the interpersonal stuff gets deeper too. So I don't know, it has this effect of like zooming in and zooming out at the same time.
I dug that
Hmm.
Char Artasia little side plot going on there was kind of that was cool.
I think I appreciated that. Like I guess like we're talking off mic about it just now about how the story, how the Principality of Xeon, how like reorganized as the series goes on to be more Nazi, having the other undercurrent of these interpersonal grudges going on, like the secret of Char's past and like what his motives are, kept things always like at a higher level of intrigue.
Yeah, he always managed to maintain a just this air about him for an antagonist that I don't want to say is unmatched, but he is. I can see why they portray him to be so sexy. Oh, so yeah, no, I mean, starting off with that first movie, I was rooting for Xeon at first, like, and then the second movie ends with this Sig Hail Xeon thing, and that was as I realized, oh fuck, I made a mistake rooting for these people in the first movie. Oh no.
Yeah, right. It's understood. Like it's understood. I guess common knowledge about the series is that it's a very upfront anti-war story. So even when a fight is justified, like you always see like people panicking or people dying or suffering.
There's a sacrifice that is never worth the ends, maybe, arguably.
No, it's a question of like if I guess like if everyone thought like Kai, then there would be no wars. But Kai can't live in a world of like-minded survivors. He in the end he's compelled. He's gotta pilot the gun cannon.
Yeah, yeah, he's pushed towards it. I guess we could dive into summarizing the events in order as we recall them.
Yeah, 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 yeah. So I guess it's best like just lay some ground. Like the story starts in I guess like some background of the Gundam world, right? Humanity has expanded to the stars. They don't really mention like faster than light travel. It's just kind of a given that they can go out vast distances in space. Or did I miss that part?
No, I mean, they seem pretty confined into um, within the solar system as we know it. So I don't think they have light travel at this point in time,
Okay.
but they've got these advanced, biologically complex space stations that seem pretty
Yeah.
self-sustainable, just floating around all six sides of Earth. This is something I missed. How many sides are there?
um, doesn't it start on side 7?
It does.
So at least 7 sides of like these like giant. I don't know if they're like it kind of looks like a Halo map. Uh, it's these cylinders that have like these this terrain like growing on the like on the edges of it, like with replicated gravity and weather.
It reminded me of the space station in Interstellar at the end of that movie. They had a space station that looked pretty similar.
Interstellar had a wait at the end when when
When he gets back from getting out of the string theory black hole thing,
wow, I totally forgot that
the
was.
Earth had died, but there's this space station now that looks pretty similar to the Gundam ones, where it has this conical shape.
O'Neill cylinders, I think they're usually called.
I wonder if there's a realism to that. Like, I wonder if that's the most effective way to create gravity.
Yeah, I guess that helps like with the rotation or something like spinning it helps.
Because even our International Space Station now has a lot of those cylinder shapes.
Yeah. Either way, like this was the story came out in 1979, so I guess it was the cutting edge of futurists imagining it. Looking into the O'Neill cylinder thing, it was developed by a Princeton University physicist, and it was later used by and that design was later used by Arthur C. Clarke in Rendezvous with Rama.
Huh.
But anyways, yeah, they got a lot of like little touches of like um how space travel or space warfare could work. I like that little moment, like when they're in their, like in the later sections when they're in space, and they're weightless in space. There's like bars to grab onto so you could get around. I think in the third movie they even show like a little thing you can like grab that then will like drag you to the end of a bar.
Yeah, yeah.
I love all those little touches when they have the booster and like this thing comes up to like absorb like the exhaust from the plane.
Yeah, there's some nice touches of realism with how they would interact with the lack of gravity or the presentation of these space stations.
Okay, so like, just to getting into like a little bit of story. So we're inside seven, one of the big cylinders in the surrounding Earth. Yeah, I guess they can't be too far. They're like because like the moon is like a part of. I assume that's what Luna was a moon.
Yeah, that or um maybe they're close to the meteor belt and Luna 7 or something is like the name of one of those big meteors. I don't know. I also assume
Like mining meteors is a part of the economy and like part of the I don't know how the resources go.
part of what these space stations against Earth were fighting for.
I should have prepared a little bit, some notes instead of go to watch One Piece by myself and
Nice.
crying in the theater next to some stranger.
It's okay. Anime's brought me to tears before, but
yeah. So one of these cylinders outside of Earth, and we see there's a young boy named Amuro Ray, who's like a real gearhead. He's playing with his toys when ruckus ensues. The Z. Oh wait, we didn't go to the background. We didn't do the background.
we'll get there. The background will kind of
We'll fill
build
it
it.
in.
Yeah.
Yeah, but basically there's two sides. There's the Earth Federation, and there's a group of people that were in outer space in the farthest area from Earth that revolted, tried to get independence, and has since come to be known as a Principality of Xeon, and they've been fighting a war that's been somewhat at a stalemate. Yeah, some of these Xeon people, led by Char Aznable, he's like one of the main guys in this story. They're doing a reconnaissance mission because Earth Federation is coming up with a new weapon which is the titular Gundam. They want to see they're doing reconnaissance to see I don't know what they're working with.
How advanced it is, whether or not their tech is capable of keeping up with Xeon or not. I guess what they're trying to determine was this new tech going to give the Earth Federation forces enough of an edge to win.
Yeah, but then one of the pilots of like most of the wars are fought with mechs, here dubbed mobile suits, because of something called Minovsky particles that reduce like the effectiveness of radar and like other like far flung communications, make it very difficult to do battle from far distances. So mobile suits became like the best way to do close combat fighting. That's their excuse to having mechs in this. It's just got to be up close, and if you're up close, it's just better if you're in a giant robot.
Human shaped.
In a human shaped robot. Yeah, anyways, one of the pilots of these mech suits kind of jumps the gun. He sees an opportunity to, instead of just see what the weapon is, to destroy or capture it, and what was a reconnaissance mission turns into a full-blown attack. Amuro Ray finds that his father, who is the engineer working on the Gundam, is more interested in kind of getting getting as many weapons and mobile suits like out of the colony that they're in than like helping the civilians or anything like that. So he takes the matters into his own hands, and like one of the mobile suits that got attacked, the titular Gundam, he climbs in, and even though he's got the instruction book in his hand, and he's like on the fly trying to figure out how to learn, but he's a quick study, and apparently because it turns out that his latent psychic abilities make him extra good at intuiting things. But they don't get into that till later. He fights off some of the mobile suits. The Xeon mobile suits are old Zaku, by the way. Well,
They
the names get goofy.
Yeah, they
For
really
the mobile.
do. That's a plus for me. I enjoy
But
a goofy
later
naming.
later they say we have 3 gogs at your disposal. Doesn't stop there. And then Char is like, wow, is this a Galgoog? A Gelgoog. Might be. It's a Gelgoog. One of them is literally the goof.
Anne would be so proud.
Oh. Yeah, maybe that explains the outcome of the war, is that they're supercomputer designing this stuff as a penchant for nonsense sound. Oh yeah, I think you might have cracked some lore.
That or just people gone insane staring into the void of space for too long.
I guess that, you know what, working on this war stuff just has to make you crazy. Like, that's what, I guess, spoilers ahead, that's what happens to Amuro's dad.
Yeah, poor guy getting oxygen deprived.
Damn, they just like stick him in some like some weird house at the end of wherever.
Right by the junkyard.
Yeah, just like really stick it in. Like, this, he's they chewed him up and threw him out.
Oh, you have to kill half of humanity. There's this little house for you by the junkyard.
Damn, but anyway.
Yeah, I guess there's some background there. Is that during the initial startings of this war, half of humanity is gone.
Right, because the war was gotten so bad. It's just pretty scary that later, when Xeon goes full hit Nazi, what's the name of the main Nazi
The
guy?
extra crazy zombie.
Zombie, yeah, the Gil
Is it Garma?
Giren. I think Garma's like the isn't Garma the big one? No, that's Dozel. Garma is the Char's friend, but Char's not Garma's friend.
No.
Garma's the one that got tricked by Char
Yeah.
into.
You're right. The youngest child.
It's a great moment.
No, that scene confused me because those motivations weren't quite revealed yet, and all Char says, "Oh, well, you're just unlucky to be a zombie. Haha, I got you."
He literally just like
Hey, Garma, do you read me? Blame this on the misfortune of your birth. What?
It's like, wait, what's that about? Char, why are you doing this?
I guess it does immediately have you asking questions. Because he acts like such a gentleman, and that's when you realize like he's doing some kind of Monte Cristo stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we still don't know like what his plans are. I wasn't sure if he was just like up yours, or if he, at that point, I was also open to the idea that he's climbing the ranks or something.
So I thought it was some like weird politicking, like some other family member had requested his death, or there was some feuding going on.
Yeah, whenever they like go into the micro, they stop by at Earth. There's all this stuff going on. Like Karma, like I don't think we're gonna be able to cover everything that happens.
No, there's no way.
But like before he dies, like Karma has this it it's like out of, I don't know, like War and Peace or something, where he has this whole thing about a forbidden engagement with some lady.
Yeah. Garma had a little lover on Earth's side, and I think they're going to tie the knot too. Was their plan? Like,
Man,
Garma
like,
was playing. Oh, I'm going to take it back to the Principality, and we'll be an item there.
yeah, so like they're which makes it like extra sad, like about him dying. I guess, yeah. Also, like you didn't know about Giren's ideology. You don't even know new types exist at that point. But there's the larger war stuff, and that is at its most simple is in the white base, like trying to survive. Then there's like the logistics, but then there's like these people that are just trying to manage their passions, their loves, their like their own, like
their losses, their families, trying to get some bread on the table. That was one detail I had noticed, was whenever they were eating, it was always just a piece of old-looking bread.
They made a point of, I don't remember when, they made a point someone was eating bread and made it a point to show that it was like very stale and hard to chew on.
Because that's what happens during all-out war.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so like I don't think I'm gonna go into as much detail for outside of the beginning. I think we're gonna like zoom by afterwards. Like the other part of this beginning section is White Base, which is another experimental. It's kind of like a carrier type ship. Like it's like a larger ship, like meant to
house and launch these mecha.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm thinking like so I'm thinking like Harriers like in World War II, how they had all the planes.
These movies were very Pacific theater in its setting and comparisons.
It also but it also works like when you just think about the logistics of space war. I'm guessing you need like mobile bases.
I'm not gonna say without a doubt, but yeah, that would be a necessity, I would imagine.
Yeah, but no, like, I can't like I was trying not to like pigeonhole things, but I'm sure like even Tomine, like even he would be like would like invite comparisons to World War II Japan. Like when Giran gives his Hail Zeon speech, like I thought I remembered it like starting at a banner that looked like the classic Japanese flag with the red dot,
the rising sun.
Yeah, and then it panned down, and you saw like these like Nazi eagles and this like big Lenny Riefenstahl style display of people. But either way, like they have like this. I mean, if you have this like background, like you're gonna draw on it.
Definitely to maintain that anti-war message, and then also, I guess, do a cultural self ethnography of what you've done before.
But they do a really clever thing in building it. In that White Base, the captain who has to like lead White Base, or I guess lieutenant. I don't know how army hierarchy works. Eventually he's lieutenant. But he kind of the same way that Amuro Ray has to step in and pilot the Gundam. Like he was lower in command, but the guy who's supposed to be the captain of the ship, whatever, the guy that's supposed to be lieutenant got injured and eventually dies. And so like this younger guy has to lead it. And a lot of the main crew are actually young. They're kind of shunted into this position. So they do this cool thing where at least like in the world of White Base, like they're part of the machinery of the war, but just by necessity because of their age, none of them are.
They're all kids.
Like the architects of it all of anything happening. Yeah, they're the people on whom war is thrust upon. I was gonna say but even Xeon whenever they get a look at what White Base is working with, they're like, damn, they're using kids. That's so fucked up. Like even in the world of Gundam, it's like now we take it for granted in anime. Oh yeah, kids are of course they have to fight to save the world.
Yeah, adults don't know shit. It's gonna be the kids.
Yeah, who else could?
The adults are way too ingrained in their nonsense and old ways of thinking.
Yeah, maybe there's some.
I guess I worked with the new type thing going on.
There is something there. There's people that like the new. So I guess let's get into that. So, we're just discovering the Gundam world, and I guess so they're gonna talk about like all the cool stuff in it. I think now he's gonna go more the loosey goosey because that's the pitch. Amuro Ray and the White Base are a bunch of kids trying to get from one place to another in peace, unsuccessfully.
Seems like the Earth Federation forces continually baited them to a two.
Oh man, they screw them over so bad. Yeah, when they finally get to like link up with the Federation forces, like immediately, like, all right, here's this mission. You go by yourself into this battle zone.
Well, like the first base they stop at too after their home is blown up. Yeah, so the ruckus of Xi'an trying to do their scouting for information turns into their homes blowing up. But so yeah, when White Base first stops there and they think, okay, we're home, we're in safety, they're like, oh, sorry, we don't have any resources. Go to Earth. Then they go to Earth. Oh, nope, sorry, we can't help you. Go here instead.
Right. Is this when they land like where Amuro's mom is?
Yeah. It was right around there too. That was a crazy scene.
That's where something I wonder if like um when okay, which scene are you thinking?
When Amuro and his mom like finally interact with each other. I'm still not quite sure what to take away from that one. I thought she was a little harsh with him, like, "Oh, that's not how I
Yeah.
raised you. What the hell?" But Amuro's like, "Well, it's me or them."
Yeah. It's he's in it. Like I don't know, like that whole situation was so screwed because now not only was this refugee camp harboring a Federation soldier, but also they killed one of them and there's someone else to tell them that he did it.
Yeah, and he had put
Like
all those people into danger. I guess it was a bad decision on Amuro's part to make his way there.
yeah, but it seemed like the mom, instead of being upset about him for doing that, for I don't know, for lack of prudence or something, she's like, I can't believe you would shoot at someone.
Yeah, that's not the way I raised you. Why are you shooting soldiers?
Like I think I'm like I was like two minds about it because on the one hand, like it's it's war. Like are you asking why I'm shooting a soldier in a war? But on the other hand, you kind of need that voice. Someone's got to say that.
I'm just surprised it was her during that interaction too of him hiding in that bed and being discovered. Like of course it was going to escalate that way.
Yeah, and at this point in the story, like I think like part of why he shoots too is that I don't think if like this is a result of having to watch the more truncated movie instead of the show where maybe things would breathe a little more. But I guess like at this point, like he might have some PTSD. Like he had a couple of like um Shinji get in the robot moments where he's like, why am I?
Yeah,
立てよおい
やめてくださいよ。そんなにガンダムを動かしたいならあなた自身がやればいいんですよ。
何できればやっている貴様に言われるまでもなくな
僕だってできるからやってるんじゃないんですよ。
あ He has some blackout
Why should I
things.
pilot the
殴った
gun?
ね。
He left a white base a couple points too. Like, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to get into this kill machine. I've killed so many people at this point. I'm not even a soldier. Like, what am I doing?
And so him like doing the shooting there is, it makes sense in the moment of like, they're gonna catch me or they're gonna tell about the refugee camp or something. But also it could just be like he might have like had a moment where he snapped, where he went into like survival mode. And anyway, like he's gone through the ringer and then his own mother disowns him. I got a feel for him.
I modest him.
And then I don't think they follow back on that. Like the white base moves on, and then they
I guess they gave him the opportunity to leave and stay with his mother, and he decided, no, I'm Gundam pilot now.
maybe he was thinking about it, but then but that like did it. Like she burned the bridge. Now the vibes are weird. Like please let me back on the.
I can't stay here. Well, he had people he cared about on that ship too.
Yeah.
And this is one thing that came up pretty consistently was the lieutenant was like, oh, anyone can pilot this Gundam. We don't need you, Amuro. Like he said that, and that came up pretty consistently. But White Base needed him for sure.
Yeah, like there's so many moments when it was only because Amuro came out. It's so cool. Like the White Base is so important to the story because like they make the Gundam so like OP. It's like there's a video game, there's a Superman game. I don't think it was all that great, but like in that game, like you didn't have a health bar. Like Metropolis had a health bar.
Oh, why would Superman or Gundam have a health bar.
Yeah, it's like the strongest thing. I'm curious, like, speaking of, like, it turns out Gundam does have a health bar. Because, like, by the end of it, it gets, like, it's such a weird fight, like, when, Char and Amuro are fighting on their respective, like, Amuro's on his Gundam, of course, and Char is piloting the,
Ziang or something like that. Jiang? That was a souped up robot that had no legs.
Yeah.
I like that he said something about that too. Oh, it's not completed in construction, but the legs are just for show. I always try to tell Top Brass that.
At the end of the fight, it's the Gundam, like, missing a head, like, missing an arm, fighting just a floating head.
It was funny because what was the one thing Amuro said? Oh no, my main camera's gone. Oh well, I'm still gonna get him. Oh, I don't need that. It's just
it must
the
have
main
been his.
camera.
It must have been his new type abilities got so honed by that point.
Yeah, they were...
Okay, so that's the other thing. So I guess, like, do you want to talk a bit about the new type stuff?
Yeah, of course.
Apparently, I was looking around. Apparently, fans are divided about the new type stuff. Some people just say it's their serious robot show is bogged down by space magic.
I could understand that. I mean, that's fair. I don't know if I personally feel that way. Okay, I mean, like, at the very least, the new type stuff allow for some awesome eye candy, some great visuals to occur.
Yeah, right. Because, like, when like two new types bump heads, they do, like, a little Vulcan mind meld and, like, colors emerge.
I like the new type stuff at that point. Like, that was... I thought thematically it was necessary too with what was her name? Lala?
Lala.
Like, that was... I don't know, like,
right,
how would they have had that interaction without that new type stuff? And that interaction was absolutely essential for multiple characters' developments.
Right, because then by the end, like, they don't see eye to eye, but they, like, understand each other more, like Char and Amuro. There's also, like, in new types, there's also, I guess, like, what we're talking about technology, like, there's, like, with new types, there's the hope for the future, and also, like, or else the horrible next page of the war, where the killing machines get more precise and where people are organized by, like, this eugenics logic. So, like, what's just, like, that's, like, Char is, like, afraid that new types are just going to be used as tools for the war, but Lala, like, she thinks that new types shouldn't be killing each other.
I don't know, that was cool thematically. Like, new types should be allowed to just live as new types and to be left alone.
But of course, like, if it's useful for the machinery of war,
they're going to be used. Which I guess is why Char disliked Amuro so much by the end of these films.
Yeah, something I wasn't understanding all the way, like, maybe I missed some in-between stuff. Char's asking Amuro to join him, and, like, join him to what? Like, I'm not sure, like, he made the pitch very clear.
No, well, Char is... I think it's obvious he's not one for politicking so much, which is
he can play the game,
but... Well, even when he plays the game, it's like, oh, I could be useful for you, which is part of what gets these new types into trouble. But no, I mean, I don't think he sold Amuro all that well on what exactly. Which is kind of silly because in the end, they're both fighting against the same thing. They were both fighting against Zabi family.
Yeah, they understood that. He was like, Amuro is saying, like, our enemy, like, don't you, like, our enemy is actually the Zabi family. I guess by this point, the Hail Zeon speech must have carried. And my understanding is that Char's motivation is to get revenge on the Zabi family. It's like his backstory, right, is that he and Sayla, who is
Artasia,
like, who's whose real name is Artasia. She's piloting the jet booster, like a space plane, for the white base. He and Sayla are they're the children of the politician at the head of the initial Zeon independence movement before the Zabi family took over, killed him and took over and set up their own kind of, I don't know, feudal, semi-feudal organization. So he's out for revenge to try to kill the Zabis, is my understanding, right?
Yes.
And then Amuro says, hey, our enemies are the Zabis. And what does Char say? He's just like, no, they're not. Like, nuh-uh.
Well, so I guess that final fight, I mean, he'd killed Amuro had killed Lala and had allowed himself to be killed by allowed himself to be manipulated by the Earth forces. Not manipulated, but allowed himself to be made into a weapon. I guess no matter what, it was too late, too little for either side at that point.
Yeah, they were just kind of like pushed to that. Because Char needed to like still play the game. Like he didn't know how long what's her name? The other Zabi like found out his true identity. Cecilia.
Yeah.
So he had to stay in the so he had to like really double down the Char character there. Like he had to keep fighting Amuro.
And I guess there might have been some deeper stuff there besides kill the Zabis. Not deeper, but there might have been some other motivations afterwards.
Yeah.
I do think he was interested in Zeon maintaining this independence.
That would make sense, given that, right? Given that his dad was a leading independence figure.
So, and I guess Amuro would never have been down with that, no matter what. So I guess that was reason enough to keep on fighting. Said Zeon proved to not be much better, even if we're under Char.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know like what's in the future for Zeon. I feel like Amuro, like if they wanted independence and didn't want to do any war, I don't see why Amuro would object. He doesn't seem to be that motivated by politics.
No, that's fair.
Like outside of the reality of outside of the reality of war, like he hasn't had reason to be motivated by anything except like what's like right in front of him.
That's true.
Like when they're what is it at Jaburo? When they're at Jaburo, they start like giving everyone medals and promotions, and like he gets pissed. Like, well, that's meaningless. Like they promote one of the pilot of the gun tank
that had ended up dying at that point.
Ryu. Yeah, he saved Amuro's life in a kamikaze attack, and he just like flips out. It's like he just with like 3 ranks are supposed to erase this death. Like he's like the whole, the theatrics of war and politics are totally alien to him.
It's right. It's not his game whatsoever.
I guess like we get hints of it as it goes on. Maybe we'll see more in the sequels. He's got like a sense of self as he's discovering what it means to be a new type. When like we're at the edges of what that means, what that's gonna mean politically as an identity group, or I don't know what to fill in for the or. I don't know, as a type of way to
demographic.
Demographic.
I guess way to be is probably better.
Because it also affects like I don't know besides like how good you are at knowing how to pilot things.
What else is there?
Yeah, so like okay, so if you're a new type, your brain is just like on another level. You can intuit how to pilot things well. That's what they just say at the beginning, but then you see that there's
you can form these deep connections with other new types.
Yeah, like there's inter-new type communication that's possible, and later at the end he's able to like give everyone like directions to escape the base or to escape the the asteroid that they're attacking.
Just in time too.
Yeah. So like if you're a new type, you can mind meld with other new types. You can intuit machines easily. you can like see ghosts a little bit, and you can like do telekinesis or telepathy. Is that like the gist of it? Did I miss any new type perks?
As far as we have seen, I think that is the gist of the new type abilities.
And they're saying like it's like humanity's adaptation to being in space. And as a metaphor, like I don't know, like maybe people get like too caught up in the science fiction of it, but without it, you could easily say, well, then how do you explain some kid learning how to operate this complicated machine so quickly? So like it's a show where they, where for some reason giant robots is the best way to do warfare. But anyways, like as a metaphor, like as this thing, like like as a metaphor, like the new type thing is like being able to connect with other people, from the logistical telecommunications thing, surely, especially since Minovsky particles has made that so difficult. For telecommunications, but also for like bridging the gap between like understanding, like a full meeting of the minds seems like very valuable for people coming together. And also like the fact that it's connected to technology seems interesting to me. Then it gets incorporated into technology, but isn't technology like the expression of human adaptation to the environment?
Yeah, at this point, I mean, definitionally for sure.
Oh yeah, yeah. We don't have to like take that far of a walk. It's just what it is.
No, I don't know. I
About
mean,
technology.
truly, the new type connection that Amuro and Lala were able to form with each other. I mean, that was probably my favorite visual moment of the show. Like, I
Oh
mean, I don't
yeah.
know. That was just my favorite interaction, I think.
I liked to see it, and like maybe like some like nice lines, but I was so confused as to like what Lala's like character was.
They kind of sold her.
Oh,
They
I'm
kind of
sorry.
sold her short
Yeah.
in this compilation film.
Yeah, maybe the show has more like character detail for
Because I mean,
her.
the way the movies present her is she's some new type that Char had discovered first.
Yeah, so see, like I guess like when they're stopping somewhere. They're stopping at like at a neutral colony, at a neutral cylinder, and Amora had a bad time linking up with his dad, who, man, okay, so like I guess like we hinted at it, we talked a little bit about it, but isn't that the saddest thing? The dad like losing his brain. He's just like in this like sad, I don't know, efficiency. Like it looks like a warehouse was converted into an efficiency or something.
Yeah, it was. It's such an emotional
And
disconnect too. Like here's your son that you haven't seen in this conflict for quite some time,
mhm.
and his main priority was making sure the Gundam is better.
Yeah. And he's like, that's all he's talking about. And he shows him, look, here's this machine I invented. Amora looks at it, and he just looks at it and immediately knows it's junk. And he wonders if he has like oxygen deprivation syndrome or something. So he's just tinkering away at stuff that doesn't work because he's not like all there anymore. He lost some screws. And so like yeah, he's robbed of this emotional connection, and also like, he doesn't even have the, like at least Shinji's dad, or at least Amuro's dad in the beginning, was accomplishing things. So you can say, oh, he was distant, but because he was so committed. Like here, it's just the distance.
Right, and he thinks he's committed, but he's not even capable of accomplishing much anymore.
Man, that's so sad. And like the way that he's not even like looked after, it feels like, I don't know if he would like need a nurse. Like if there's like a way to like, I don't know, like hook him up with like an oxygen machine or something to help him. I know like if you are like without oxygen for a while, it can cause like permanent brain damage.
I guess if that happens, too little, too late, right?
Yeah, but either way, it seems like the Earth Federation like kind of just threw him to the side.
Yeah, it's funny you said Shinji first before Amuro. That's funny.
Well, my first thought was Gendo being like, this distant father just cares about getting results done, but he gets results for sure. But yeah, it applies to like you don't even have to go that far. Just that's the character also in
I mean,
Gundam.
that is
Amuro's dad is
that's the trope, isn't it?
I wonder if Gundam was the first one for that. I'm sure you could go back, to some Greek myth or something.
Go back. No, you for sure could go back.
Odysseus went away for 10 years, right? 20 years, I guess. Like the war was 10 years, getting back was 10 years.
Damn, talk about not being present.
Yeah.
We could edit this out, but poor Jesus too. Father, please don't make me do this. I don't want to do this, Dad.
Why have you forsaken me? Oh, I've been rereading Hunter x Hunter. I've been a peak weeb lately.
Oh, that's another not present father at all either.
Yeah. And that's kind of like One Piece kind of has that of this like absent father figure. I wonder if I don't want to like generalize too much about Japan, but I'm gonna do it. I wonder if that's a trope like following World War II because so many people died, so many like men died in World War II. Like there must have been like a generation of like fatherless children that went on to make like a lot of the media that inspired the next generation.
Fuck. Yeah.
It's possible, right? It's a thought.
I mean, I'm not even sure you'd be guilty of generalizing. I mean, that just kind of you're making sense of a sequence of events that would happen to an entire nation state.
Yeah, and I'm guessing like for Japan, like that was they lost like a percentage of their population, like way bigger numbers than like the percentage of the population that the U.S. lost. But the U.S. has no shortage of those kinds of stories of absent fathers. Even if they come back from the war, they got PTSD, they're drunk all the time, or they're just they're caught up in the new economy or in the old way of surviving, of like not sharing your feelings or anything. Like there's,
I mean, it was outside of war. There's just a concept of masculinity.
mm-hmm. Yeah, Gundam's good. uh, uh, yeah. Oh yeah, I was reading Hunter x Hunter, and there's a part where some characters are talking about Judas. In a way, like there's like they think there's a Judas among us, and then other characters like. No, I don't think there is. And besides, I don't consider Judas to be a traitor. Which, okay, so they're having like theological discussion about, about the passion, about the gospels. And now I'm thinking, so in Hunter x Hunter world, Jesus is canon.
Oh, damn.
But yeah, also it turns out in Gundam, Hitler is canon.
Yeah, I knew they were going, with the
Hail Zeon.
The fascist references, but I was surprised to see that name
Then they just
drop.
said it.
Yeah, like
not only did they name drop him, one character goes to the other like, "You ever heard of Hitler? Oh yeah, from the past. You remind me of Hitler right now."
you fail to see the movements of the times.
That's not, I guess like that's an interesting thing where far back enough in history, and like you think like, what do we end up remembering these people for? Like Julius Caesar is famous for so much more than genocide of the Gauls. Yeah, I guess he accomplished way more than Hitler did. Nero is famous for burning Rome, or allegedly burning Rome.
Or playing a musical instrument.
Playing for his sick chops. I wonder if maybe 1,000 years in the future, whenever the universal century is, people talk about Hitler. Oh yeah, he was one who did not know where the times were going.
What a gross way to. I guess you go far enough in the future, details get lost, but
yeah, but you would think because Giran, like he expresses a desire for like new types to take over as a superior race because of overpopulation. Anyways, a lot of people need to die, and the people of the old types need to go. So you would think that you're reminding a lot of Hitler because you want to make a master race of people you deem to be genetically superior.
Fucking psychopath. You're a psychopath, son. Sit down.
So that's it's a Degwin.
His father was an interesting figure. He pursued peace. He pursued peace in the end of it.
Right. Well, what's his? Yeah, I wonder. Like, I guess like we need more back. We don't have much background about how how the coup went down. Like, what their motivations for coupping were. How did it turn into an all-out war where Zeon didn't just have, they didn't just like hold on to their section, but they had a pretty entrenched invasion going on planet Earth, where they like had mining operations and
fortresses everywhere. Yeah, I mean, I guess in retrospect, it was pretty obvious that they were fighting more of a war than a war for independence.
yeah, see that's read a little bit more like conquest. I'm not sure what the logistics were. Like, I would think that if you're in space already, if you're so far away from Earth, that maybe from asteroids you could get what you need, but I don't know. Maybe you can't find as much gold for electronics in asteroids or something.
No cows in the asteroids either.
No. Oh, there were cows in one of the cylinders. There were buffalo in the desert place that they went to.
Yeah, there's a swan in the neutral side as well.
in in the neutral planet. They should have waged war in the neutral planet like in Futurama.
I would like to see more about that neutral space station too. That's an interesting one in terms of background.
Yeah.
Because there's Principality of Xeon fighting for what we thought was, I don't know, self-determination, but then I guess these other space stations are allowed their own politics and can choose to be neutral.
Yeah, that's got to be a complicated political system. Because if they maybe they gained a neutral stance, like maybe that was a result of some treaty where, because of how
Stalemate this conflict was.
maybe they made some so maybe like as a human rights thing, it's like, well, we can't be attacking, we can't be like having fights in these places. Yeah, like that was a really cool showing that. It was a really cool look into like the politics. It makes you wonder about all that stuff. And the little details of like the security tape over the weapons.
If you fire a missile here, you'll be horribly fined.
Yeah.
There's also funny too. They're money motivated as well. Still.
Yeah, they're still an economy, which makes me wonder, like, how is Earth Federation economy organized? So they're using money. Gold is still valuable, as we can see from when Char gives Sayla like bars of gold.
Yeah, just a suitcase full of gold and a note. Yeah. Yeah, so gold still has value.
It's like little things. It has the Star Wars effect. I think speaking of late 70s, early 80s properties, at least for now, that had there is a Star Wars effect of like it did a great job of creating a world that if you're a certain type of person, gets your gears turning, like, oh, what's that about? What's under the Cloud City? What kind of you can put in the work to flesh it out. If you're gonna create a strong enough vibe, then the curiosity is gonna be there. And like the way Gundam's like has those little details, it also gives you confidence. I think maybe Star Wars being more fantasy doesn't have that as much, but the way like the tape stuff, that gives you confidence that if you were to look into it, you could find an answer. Especially now that there's so much stuff.
Shit, it has more stuff than Star Wars even.
Let me see. Actually, let me just like check on Amazon. Just I want to see Gundam encyclopedia. Oh, we got some stuff. Ship and aerospace plane encyclopedia. Yes, I need like an Osprey book for for Gundam. Yeah, some of these seem like Japanese imports. I'm not sure. Oh, the Japanese magazine Gundam Mobile Suit Bible. You know what? Okay, so we've decided, right, that like we're gonna keep going with this show, with this series. This is a worthwhile project.
Yeah, I'd say so. I can say this so far too.
from now, like maybe this one being dipping your toes, like it's fine that we went in without notes, but I think as it goes on, like I'm getting that encyclopedia might just be
No, I
something
should
we
have
have to do.
I should have taken notes. At least we're giving a fair summary. We jumped around a little bit, but I don't know. I think that's okay.
Yeah, I mean, there's the story itself flows so well, I think. Like, you know, the way the movies are, maybe it's a little too compressed. Maybe if you watch the show, it would be a little too drawn out. Pick your poison. I don't know. But the way that it is, like the way, I don't know, the plotting, like whenever something comes up, you're invested. You don't, you know, you're invested in seeing things work out, and it feels like it has consequences for everyone. Right? They become a little more jaded, or it's not a crazy body count, but like, you know, like you have to say goodbye to some characters. Like there's tragedy.
Yeah, which is, I mean, that's intense for what's ultimately a kids cartoon. Maybe not a kids cartoon, but that's intense for something animated from the 80s.
Yeah, I've heard. I think like the joke about how to summarize Gundam is that, like, you know, like they describe like the events of Mobile Suit Gundam, and then it gets worse, is what they say.
I mean, yeah.
So I know we'll see how these lovable scamps get away in the future. I'm so excited. Like we're doing this, so like we're planning on doing this kind of in the order that it comes out. But like as we go, it's gonna take some willpower to not. Maybe we'll just cover it in order, but like I might jump around because there's a series called Gundam: The Origin that I'm very curious to watch.
I'm kind of curious
because it's about Char's rise to power.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, just to whet the appetite. But I think that one came out recently. So.
I was curious about Blood Iron Orphans or something.
Oh yeah, that one's got, like, a lot of people really like that one. I think it was written by Mario Kada, who's like really good at writing scripts for things that make you cry.
Challenge accepted.
Do you wanna call it a night for tonight?
Yeah, I think so.
I know we kind of jumped around. We just sort of. This is more to me right now. This episode, I don't know. I was just excited, expressing like excitement about like all the goings on in Gundam. If anyone's listening, let us know. I don't know. If you're a Gundam head or curious about it, let us know how this went. What you think about Gundam? What are the best Gundams?
Let us know what you think about the new type or not new type controversy as well.
So Pleasant Evenings Book Club will be back with books, and whatever this Gundam show ends up being called, we'll be back.
We'll be back at you with
I'm
some
excited.
Zeta. I'm excited too, for sure.
Good night. Have a pleasant evening.
Corby signing off.
Oh yeah, it's Roberto. I don't think we just kind of jumped in. Yeah, it's
whatever. It's fine.
Good night.
Good night. And pleasant evening. Alright, let's try to record it.
Lady, 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 lady,